Do you think Kejriwal should have resigned before going to jail? Hemant Soren, for example, when this question was asked to a sample of about 1,500 respondents, these were the answers. The last table, the last column is of the average, the weighted average of all the different types of voters. 49% of the overall respondents feel that Kejriwal should have resigned before going to jail. Naturally, amongst BJP respondents, almost 80% are saying isko pehle hi jana chahiye tha, but that's obvious because they're antagonistic towards Kejriwal. Amongst AAP voters, which is more significant, about 1/3 say he should have resigned before going to jail. Amongst Congress voters, interestingly, very few say he should have resigned earlier. 87% saying no, he should not have resigned. So that's question number one, where the net response is 49% saying if he had to resign, he should have resigned before going to jail. Should Arvind Kejriwal have recommended the dissolution of the assembly along with his resignation? He's called, remember, for early polls, but should he have asked for the assembly itself to be dissolved along with and held elections held along with Jharkhand and Maharashtra? Here, 40% of the total respondents say yes, he should have also dissolved the Delhi Assembly. 19% say no. Amongst the AAP voters, the response is more muted. 33% saying he should have dissolved the Assembly. Naturally, amongst BJP voters, they're itching for an early election. 50% saying he should have dissolved the Assembly now rather than delay this. I want to come to the next question. What impact do you think Kejriwal's resignation could have on the next assembly election in the capital? It enhances AAP's chances of winning, is the response of 31% of the respondents. It will have a somewhat negative impact, will be the response of 29% of the respondents. No noticeable impact is the response of 19% of the respondents. That being said, let me now go across first to Amitabh Tiwari to try and distill the first set of responses that I've put out. It seems to me that about half the respondents believe that he should have resigned before going to jail. If he really wanted to uphold public morality, rather than do this now, he should have resigned before going to jail. What do you make of these responses, Amitabh Tiwari?
Yeah, essentially, almost half of the people believe that he should have resigned earlier, which gives credence to BJP's charge that this could be a political gimmick. What is worrying for the Aam Aadmi Party is that even 1/3 of their own voters believe that he should have resigned before going to the jail. On the second question, whether the dissolution of the assembly should have taken place, here also, if you see, amongst AAP supporters, the people who believe that he should have dissolved the Delhi Assembly, which is again 1/3, is 10% higher than what the other voters are saying, which is no, he should not have dissolved the assembly. So of these responses, what is worrying for the Aam Aadmi Party is that a higher number or a significant number of voters believe that he should have resigned or he should have dissolved the
Let me get Jasmine Shah to respond to the first response, where you've got 1/3 of AAP voters and 50% of the overall voters saying if Kejriwal wanted to resign, he should have resigned when he went to jail, not now.
Rahul, first of all, I take all these surveys with a pinch of salt, especially when they are not face-to-face survey and done over telephone. You know, representativeness, sample size, different cross-sections of social economic strata, all those questions come in. But having said that, see, there has been a general tendency for people, and I would say this is before the present BJP regime, which has turned the entire investigative agency and the work on its head. You know, people believe that once you even press or accuse someone, and if CBI and ED register a case against someone, there is something. But you know, now slowly people have started believing, and they are seeing this as an example in this so-called the fake Delhi liquor case, that for the last 2 years, BJP has been yelling from the rooftops that, oh, a huge scam has taken place, huge scam has taken place. But in 2 years, they've not been able to find any evidence or any money recovery. And now the Supreme Court, this has not happened for the past 10 years. After 10 years, Supreme Court has been compelled to call the investigative agencies of this country as a caged parrot. Remember, this was Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi and Chief Minister Modi earlier used to call CBI and target UPA for being a caged parrot. Today, these comments are being made of the Supreme Court. So, yes, part of our public outreach narrative, and this is exactly what Mr. Kejriwal plans to do, that he wants to take this fight to the people. He's going to tell the people why did he not resign earlier? Because if he had resigned earlier, Rahul, you know that today there are cases against Mamta Didi, Pinarayi Vijayan, Hemant Soren obviously. All the chief ministers would be put in jail. Why? Because there's a fake ED case, fake CBI case.
Deshmukh come in on this.
नहीं सकते, उनको जेल में डालो और वो सरकारी गिरा दो.
Jasmine's argument is basically, and it's reflected in the data, that people at this moment, because it happened just today, which is when you ran the sample, are a bit confused. It's a very mixed picture on most questions, which basically means they haven't made a firm position. They're going along with their political biases. It's not clear. Jasmine's argument is, we will build on this, which is why Kejriwal is resigned, because narrative mahal banane se banta hai. Now we've got an opportunity to go out and try and build the narrative the way Kejriwal thinks is best for AAP.
Well, Rahul, I actually look this data as more giving me indication of a pro-AAP sentiment and pro-Kejriwal sentiment rather than a negative sentiment. Because you just mentioned that the Congress supporters are giving a much bigger sweeping remark that he did the right thing to be there because they are big-time anti-BJP voters. But as far as Aam Aadmi Party vote share in Delhi is concerned, we know that a significant chunk of that base also votes for BJP in the Lok Sabha election. So that 1/3 of the AAP support base, which is saying that he should have resigned, I am not surprised by that because, first of all, it is an anti-Congress, anti-BJP chunk which is with them, and it is probably that kind of moralistic chunk which got attracted to Aam Aadmi Party because of the Andolan, Anna Andolan, and so on and so forth. But having said that, Rahul, what tells me from the question that what the impact is going to have, the second option is looking like somewhat negative, but the full line is that somewhat negative, but Aam Aadmi Party will remain the major force. So if you look at it that way, I see only 31% in the sample actually, which is like big time anti-AAP or anti-Kejriwal in that way. What it does is that it makes this entire thing finally balanced. It is pretty much like the BJP. Like without Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP has no gain anywhere. Similarly, without Arvind Kejriwal, Aam Aadmi Party has no game in Delhi. So it's the question of the leadership, and it's gonna be around Arvind Kejriwal. And let me point out this thing. Then the last 10 years, Rahul, we do twice every year the MOTN. So it's about between 2014 and 24. Right now, we are looking at almost like 20 rounds of MOTN. And I don't remember a single time when Arvind Kejriwal was out of the top 5 chief ministers in India. So just like at the national level, Prime Minister Modi is extremely popular as the chief ministerial candidate.
So Ashutosh, do you think this creates some distance between Kejriwal and anti-incumbency? Naturally, after 10 years of being in power, a certain amount of anti-incumbency builds up against all leaders and parties. By leaving the chief minister's chair, has Kejriwal been able to create some distance between governance, anti-incumbency and his own political persona?
See, Rahul, the most important thing is that Delhi election will be all about Narendra Modi, all about Arvind Kejriwal. It's like parliament election. Where in the parliament election, Mr. Modi was the issue, and in Assembly Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal will be an issue. So I think Arvind Kejriwal must have done some kind of survey, must have got some feedback from the ground that if he's continuing as a chief minister, then it will harm the party. And I'm saying this with confidence, not that I'm some here and there. Because only then he had decided to resign and throw an emotional card, trying to connect with the people that, look, I'm not here to run after the office. I am here to resign. because he committed the blunder when he was being arrested. If at that point of time he had resigned, then probably people would have thought that here is our leader who is not running after the office. Look at this. 10 years is a pretty long time in politics, in government, to create a kind of anti-incumbency. Narendra Modi had that kind of anti-incumbency. He faced that, so Arvind Kejriwal will certainly face that. But problem with Arvind Kejriwal is that now there are the serious corruption charges, and I'm not saying that it's liquor policy which is going to damage them. The more he has been damaged by the Sheesh Mahal, because it has a visual impact, and visually people are not willing to believe that the man who used to say that he should stay in a 2-room flat suddenly has spent 45 crores. It's the visual impact which is must have damaged him, and that is why he decided to relinquish the post and let Atishi become the chief minister. But again, the party has done a damage by calling her a kind of a dummy candidate, a dummy chief minister. If Atishi would have been allowed to create some kind of brand value for herself and a kind of autonomy, then probably Atishi as a clean face would have added certain value to the Aam Aadmi Party.
Let Jasmine Shah respond to what Ashutosh is saying, that you've already rendered her a lame duck chief minister by making it clear that she's just holding the chair like Bharat for Ram till Kejriwal comes again. You've essentially said, CM to Kejriwal hi honge, kursi pe jo marzi baitha. The moment your leaders say that, you made your own new appointee rather ineffective and a lame duck CM.
Well, that can be Ashutosh's opinion, but if you ask and if you go in the streets of Delhi, Rahul, every single person has chosen Arvind Kejriwal to be his chief minister. As just Yashwant Deshmukh ji just said, that he has consistently, for the past 10 years, he has been amongst the most popular chief ministers in the country. Mandate-wise, he has 90% assembly seats in Delhi. No chief minister in the history of India has won such a mandate. So why shouldn't when people voted in 2020, they didn't vote for XYZ, they voted for Arvind Kejriwal ji. And he has resigned because he took it upon himself as a moral, fight that I will go to the people and seek my mandate against. Nobody had asked him to do it. So obviously everybody knows that the rightful person in this place should be Arvind Kejriwal. He has run a clean administration. He has done the kind of things that no government in this country has ever done. He has given free services to the poor. He has turned around government schools, health, hospitals, clinics, etc. Why should we not be grateful that today you have a chief minister like him who is delivering and who is as honest as anybody else in the country? So, let's not make a big issue out of this that, oh, Kejriwal ji chale gaye, lekin unke piche koi aa raha hai. Atishi ji, and let me just be very clear, for the last 2 years, ever since Atishi has been a minister in Delhi government, she has a tremendous track record. She has worked on education. She has single-handedly managed many important departments. She is a lady in her own, might. But let's not trivialize and say that she will not be able to take any decisions.
No, but your own leader said it. That
leader
jo bhi ho CM, asli CM to Kejriwal hi honge, was said by Saurabh Bhardwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party this morning. So that's a legitimate argument that Ashutosh was making, because that's the positioning and the messaging from the AAP itself.